Okay, so I decided that I'm actually going to try to do a couple of tutorials on the homework or homework help. So I'm going to do both Tuesday and Wednesday night's homework right now for you guys so that way you can see what I've done. And then I will do another homework help on that I will upload on Monday that will have Thursday, Friday, and then Monday's homework as well. So I'm going to start with number one. So number one, it gives the percent of vehicles that are a certain color, and it asks you what percent of vehicles are have colors other than those listed. Well, when I added up all of the values that they had there, it actually added to 100%. So all car colors were accounted for in A. In B, I created the bar graph. Bar graphs, again, remember you want to have spacing here. If you don't have spacing on yours, make a note. And then I have all of the colors there. Okay, categorical information. For C, it says, would it be appropriate to make a pie chart of the data? In this case, you actually could make a pie chart because it's already in percentages. So we could make a pie chart and we could have 20%, 17%, and break it down because we are looking at percentages. Had those been numbers instead of percentages of vehicles, like if it was 20 vehicles and 17 vehicles, then it wouldn't be appropriate to make a pie chart. Moving on to number two, it gave you an actual breakdown on this one of luxury cars and SUVs and trucks. You'll notice I actually didn't finish out the entire graph. I did the first part of it here and ran out of room, but I wanted to just give you the idea of what this graph would look like. This is a side-by-side bar graph, meaning that I'm going to compare luxury cars and trucks and SUVs here right under the same color, but they do touch each other. There is a space here between where I have the different colors. So make sure you still have spacing in between here. And then I can compare right away. Well, it looks like silver was popular among both of them. Black was more popular for luxury cars, less for trucks and SUVs. Over here, white cars were, or trucks and SUVs were very popular, where luxury cars, not so much. In B, it asks you to make some, what does it say? Write a few sentences describing what you see. And there could be many answers here, but what I noticed in general is that SUVs and trucks tend to be lighter in color than the luxury cars. Okay, so that's number two. Moving on to number three. In number three, they asked you to first make a dot plot of the data. And let me look here. Yes, make a dot plot of the data. And that's what I've done here. So I created a dot plot of that data. And then after that, it says, describe the overall pattern. So I'm not going to necessarily have to cuss yet for this one, but I do have all of those same, the concept there. So our center is around 6 when I count it in. So again, the way we're kind of finding center right now is we're trying to find like where our middle point is, and my middle point was right in here. It looks like there were, I didn't count how many observations there were, but I divided that in two, and my middle observation would be in there. It's roughly symmetric in shape. You could have put bell shape or however you wanted to describe that, but symmetric is how we're going to say that. There are no unusual features. None stood out too much to me, and they spread from 3 to 11. Moving on to number 4, and this was our last one for this first homework assignment. It asked why we split the stems in this data set. So it already had this stem split. There's actually 2 reasons that you split cells. One is to see like the lows and the highs within a stem. Remember that when you split a stem, it's from 0 to 4 and then 5 to 9. So if you want to see like the low 60s and then high 60s, you can see that in a split stem. The other reason that you'll do it is because if there aren't many stems and you want to create more stems, and that's what actually this one, there were only going to be 4 stems if I didn't. We would have 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 stems is too light. That's not enough stems. So what you can do is you can split it, and instead we ended up with 7 stems. So that was the reason for this one. The next part says, give an appropriate key for this graph. What that means is actually write out the values that are in the graph, which did take me a little while. But we had the 1, and then the 5 is 15, and 15, and 16, and 20. So I wrote out all the values there. That's the key. Then it asks you to cuss about it. So I have a center at 28, and the way that I found that is I actually went into the middle and it was right in here. So that was 28 was the center of the distribution. It is roughly symmetric as well, and it's spread from 15 to 47. So you can see actually center, I explained it. There were 38 total values. I divided that by 2, and then I counted in to find that it was actually right in 28. It was between 2 28s. So that means when I average those, I'm obviously going to get 28. So that was how I got my center. So that was the first day of work. Hopefully that helps kind of clear up any questions you had on that. I'm going to move on and I'm going to do Tuesday's work now. And by the way, number 5, you're just skipping. That was a repeat problem, and that was my fault. I forgot to insert the right picture there. So you guys get a freebie on that one. Number 6 was a histogram that they gave you, and it said to firstly describe the overall shape of the distribution. It is roughly symmetric. Next, it asks you to identify, what does it say? The center. Where is the center of the distribution? And the center was in between. When I kind of looked at the values there, the center was in between 10 and 20% return. It asked what the spread was, and the graph ends at -60, but you actually have a bar that is coming out from there. It actually would go all the way down to -70, up to 110% return. 110% return. And the last part asked for a return less than 0 means that the owner of the stock lost money. About what percent of all stocks were lost? So I looked at all of the percentages. I added up the bars. So like from -70 to -60, there was about 1%. From -60 to -50, there's another 1%. From -60 or -50 to -40, there's another 1%. So I added all of those bars up until I got to the 0 bar. The one just before, so from -10 to 0, that bar looks like it goes all the way up to about 11%. So I added those percentages up, and it looks like we were between either 22 or 23%. Okay. Number 7 was a little bit tricky. For that one, they gave a lot of measurements there. I decided, instead of making all those bars, because we would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 bars if we used the data that they had, I decided instead to combine data. So that's what you're seeing in here. You're seeing for 33 in the chart, it says that there were 3 people who had chest sizes of 33 and 18 for 34. So I added 3 and 18 to get 21. It just created one less bar for me to have to do. From there, I just added up. So these 2 were chunked together, these 2, and by the end I had this. This is a lot more manageable, and when I graphed it, it looked like this. You'll notice I had to go all the way since I did lump 39 and 40 together, which were a lot. 39 inches, 1,073 people had chest sizes of 39, and 40, I had 1,079 people. So when I added that, that's a really big number. So I just had to go all the way up to 2,500 when I actually scaled it. Talking about the center now. So cussing, there are no unusual features. So that's why I don't have a U there, but center is between 39 and 41. I'm just kind of eyeballing that at this point. It's between about 39 and 41. That's kind of the main hump of the histogram. The shape is roughly symmetric, and my spread is from 33 to 48. I always look at the data for that, not the graph. Okay, let's go on to number 8. Number 8, this is the key for that. The first one, are you male or female? I knew that that one was C as opposed to B because they would be a little bit more even. Where are you right-handed or left-handed? Left-handed is very, very small chance of being left-handed. So that's how I knew that those were different from each other. The other ones are both histograms. The one that would be skewed to the right heavily is actually this last one right here. And that was, how many minutes do you study on a typical weekend? You'd have a lot of people not studying very much, but then you'd have a few, and that's that skew to the right distribution. Height is going to be roughly symmetric every time that we do it, so that's how I knew that that one was D. Moving on to number 9, our last one for today. And then number 10, you guys will actually look at in the next video when I upload that on Monday. But number 9, it has 3 multiple choice questions. I try to also explain them here, but you are given a histogram, and it says the leftmost bar in the histogram covers percents of never married women ranging from it's about 20 to 22%, which is B. In number 73, the center of this distribution is in the interval. Well, I am going to ignore the outlier in this one. If you had the outlier in there, then your mean would actually be a lot higher. But if I'm ignoring that outlier, then we have a mean about 24 to 26%. Kind of that bigger bar there would be about my center. And in number 74, it said in about what percent of states have at least 30% of women aged 15 and over never married. I actually went to the 30% on the x-axis. You go to the 30% on the x-axis, and I counted how many people. So in that first bar past there, it looks like I have 5 people in the range of 30 to 32. From the range of 32 to 35, it looks like, I have about 2 people. And then way out on the end of that histogram, I have actually 1 person and then 1. So that's how I knew that there were about 7 values out of the total 50 states. 7 divided by 50 is about 14%. I hope that helped clear some of the questions that you might have up. And if not, then I am here to help you out in Zoom today. Thanks.